My last name is Lee.
LALINOA.
Ever mai, and tune in to our podcast, LALINOA Podcast. I've got a special guest here with me. I've got Tevita Ofahengaue. Tevita, I know we've got a lot to talk about today, but how does it feel, just to, first and foremost, the first question, how does it feel to be back in Tonga?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. We came here last year in September.
Yeah.
And now this is my fourth time coming back. So,
man,
I love it.
Before we continue with our conversation, for those who's listening right now, Tevita is a former American football tight end. He was drafted last in the 2001 NFL draft, which qualified him on the idea, they call him the Mr. Irrelevant. And we were talking more about that. He was drafted from the University of BYU to the Arizona Cardinals. But before we get into that portion, has it always been American football growing up as a youth over there in the States?
Yeah, it was. It's different because I wasn't recruited like a lot of these players that have played in the NFL. Colleges didn't come after me.
Yeah.
I started very late playing football. A lot of these kids have started so young, and it wasn't my first sport. It wasn't something that I really loved and enjoyed until I was 24, probably.
Yeah.
Is when it really happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I heard this a funny story actually about the draft and being drafted last, and they call it the Mr. Irrelevant, and you get like a ticket to go to Disneyland with your family. And the story goes, and you can confirm or not, that you asked them, "Are you sure? You mean my whole entire family?" And then they said, yeah, your whole entire family. And you ended up telling them that you've got 60 members of the family or something, and they've since changed the law to just have immediate family. When they mean family, just the
just the two, just you and your wife.
You and your wife. Yeah. Is that a true story?
Yeah. So when they called me, they said, "Hey, you're our first married Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
So we want to fly you and your whole family."
Yeah.
And I said, "Are you sure? You know I'm Polynesian, right?" He goes, "Tevita, don't worry about it. We'll take care of everything." And so now there's an official rule in the NFL book, so it'll be there forever. And it states that you can only take one guest, because 2001 Mr. Irrelevant, Tevita Ofahengaue, took 62 people. And it's pretty cool because they flew me and my family, and we stayed in Newport Beach, California for a whole week.
Yeah.
So the mayor came there, gave me the keys to the city, and said, "Anything you want to do here, you're open." We went to Disneyland. They shut the park down.
Yeah.
They bought all the characters to play with my kids. So it's super cool. I still use that. That's my story. Really is irrelevant. Like I should, I graduated from high school I had my son when I was 16.
Yeah.
And then I had my second son when I was 17. So in the 90s, I graduated high school in 92. Having kids at such a young age was kind of a taboo. Not everyone understood how to have them, if they come to college. So no one recruited me. And so I graduated from high school in 1992. I had two boys, and then I moved to Texas.
Yeah.
And then I just worked. I worked there. I worked for the airlines. I worked for American Airlines, and I did nothing football-wise. I was done going to college. My parents helped me buy a house there, and 5 years later, 1997. So keep that in mind. I graduated 92.
Yeah.
1997, I walk on to BYU. As a walk-on. And at the time, my wife was pregnant with number 3.
Jeez.
And so, me going and just basically I have to pay for school and do all these things. But it was an opportunity for me maybe to play college football. So that's how it kind of started. So it's really irrelevant, everything that I've done. And then I ended up getting a scholarship in 98. And then I played there at BYU. And then when the draft came, it was cool, but not cool.
Yeah.
You know, like
You didn't think,
no possibility.
No possibility.
You know, because out of the thousands of college seniors, there's only 247 that get drafted.
Jeez.
Of all of those kids. So, you know, the chances of me getting drafted or even getting an opportunity was very slim. So when it happened, and what better way to do it than being Mr. Irrelevant? If I was the second to the last, it probably wouldn't have been as cool because they wouldn't have flew my family anywhere. And we got to go to Disneyland. And what's funny is since then I've gone so many times to support that foundation. Mr. Irrelevant Foundation is it's a group of guys. The president who passed away a couple years ago, Paul Salata. They gathered together and said, hey, they called up the NFL and said, hey, we want to take care of the last pick. And when they started it 50 years ago, they had 980 draft picks. So like the last one was like really Mr. Irrelevant. You know, since then, you know, Brock Purdy.
Yes.
You know, the quarterback. He's Mr. Irrelevant. You know, and so what they did was they just, hey, we want to take care of the guys. So how they started was they called up the last pick and said, hey, we want to take you and let's go party in Newport Beach, California for a whole week. And then since then it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. So this year they're flying us all back for the 50th year of Mr. Irrelevant. So we're going to go back. We're going to have our celebration there in Newport Beach. And so the whole ride has been cool, you know. So
and no doubt it'll just be you and your wife.
This one will only be
not the whole family.
The whole family's not invited. So, but yeah, I'm excited to get back. So when I get back, we're flying over. So, that's kind of the draft part. And then it continues. Everything just continues. I coached at BYU, and.
How just going back to your playing days, just getting into the roster and going through this whole machine that is NFL. Just talk about that whole experience. It doesn't have to be with you being on the field, but just being involved in this whole big machine that you guys have to feed every single weekend.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I did. Realized when I got to the NFL was, you know, there was a lot of talent. But the difference wasn't as big as what I expected. I expected, these are all the elite guys. You know, a lot of it is timing. You know, I got drafted to Arizona. Had I had been offensive lineman, I probably would have stayed longer. But it was just the timing that it was, and the experience and the friendships that I've gained. That was more important than the actual game. Like I didn't play very much, but all of the teammates that I've had till this day, I still keep in contact with them. I still keep watch out for their kids who are growing now. And then when I got released there, I got picked up by Jacksonville. And then when I went to Jacksonville, the same thing. It's just kind of it's the camaraderie of the group, right? It's the former players, and what makes it cool now. Today, I am the president of the NFLPA Utah chapter. So basically, it's the Players Association. So all the players, they're in a union, and I represent the state of Utah and the neighboring states, which is Idaho, Montana, Nevada. You know, some of those states that fall under us, and I'm just there to kind of be a liaison to help the players, the current players and the former players, with their benefits, because there's all kinds of benefits that are going. And so more than the actual being there, and I'm sure with every other player, it's the relationships that we gain that could last forever, you know, and that's a brotherhood that, you know, that no one can take away from me.
Tevita, in Tonga, there's the equivalent, if you want to say, to American football here in Tonga would be rugby and rugby league, and you see these players, whether they went in and they had a longevity in the game or just went in for a couple of games, they've found a career outside of rugby and league, but still involved in rugby and league. I might shoot you the same question with football. Has it always been your career? Has it always been in amongst the football community and some sort of working towards football?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's hard. You know me, I want to play golf. I want to get away from football. I want to do this, but it always comes back because the younger generation, especially being Polynesian, and, for a long time, the Tongan, we weren't as relevant as we are now in the NFL. Yeah. Now we have so many Tongans. In fact, we have, I was just talking about this, is we have a Tongan head coach in college football. That there's only one Tongan head coach, and it's Kalani Sitake. He's the coach for BYU, but we have a Tongan coach in majority of the college programs all over the country. And so being involved, it's in our blood. Going back to what you were talking about with rugby, the rugby used to be minority white, right? It used to be the majority used to be all white. Now there's so many. There's like over 40-50% that are Polynesian.
The All Blacks is the name of the team, but it's also the what the team looks like right now.
Yeah, no, for real, it does.
It's all pretty much Polynesian Island.
Yeah, and so it's in our blood being a contact person, like football and all of that stuff. So being around it for me naturally, and this is where, especially the kids here in Tonga, what I've realized, the things that they lack is the communication. Yeah, because of the respect. Their parents have raised them so good, sometimes too good, that they don't look at people in the eye. Yeah, they don't because they think it's not proper. Yeah, so but those are the things that we have to try and I want to try and help, is teaching the kids, hey, it's okay to talk to someone. Yeah. If you need help, sometimes you asking for help isn't the blessing, is the person that's giving the help. And that's the hardest thing for, especially being Polynesian, is we can't humble ourselves to just ask for help. We'll do everything to show you, but sometimes people just want you to ask. They want you to say, hey, I need help with whatever it is. And what we have to realize as Polynesian is, it's not always you that's getting the blessing. True. Because sometimes it's the person that's giving it. That's the blessing that they need, and that's their calling.
Tevita, you mentioned, and it sounds to the audience and myself is like you mentioned in passing that there is a Tongan head coach, college head coach. To those listening and going to be watching this, that's from this side of the world, just talk about how big college football is in America. It's just to get an idea for the audience and just to get an insight on how massive college football is.
Yeah, so especially within the last few years, there's this new thing called NIL, which is the name, image, and likeness. And kids in college are getting paid more than these NFL players, as a college player. So just imagine you being an 18-year-old making $5 million from working at McDonald's, turn around to $5 million. Yeah. So the game is so big now, and I think, of all the, you're thinking, 114 college teams that are out there, Division I. There's only one head coach. Yeah, that's Tongan. And that's that crazy. Tongan head coach have done so much stuff that they almost won the Big 12 last year. Yeah. Like they were ranked 10th in the country, in the top 20 in the country, and so he's done so much good for the Tongan community, just to everybody about Tonga, that we don't realize how crazy that is, that we have one Tongan head coach, Kalani Fifita Sitake. Yes, and the dad has come here a few times. The dad was born here. Again, I was born here too. Yeah. So when I left, we grew up together in Hawaii. You know, we were one of those families that got on a boat and said, hey, we're all going to take a leap of faith. We're going to end up in Hawaii, whatever we're going to do. And then from there, everyone kind of dispersed. But, you know, that's the cool thing about it is, you know, and I didn't realize it until like within the last few years, how much sacrifice like our parents did just to get us back to America, you know, and it wasn't to run away. It was more to get an education and to kind of build Tonga, you know, from that side. So,
and it's not just, you know, and I'm talking about back then, like you said, literally on a boat, a lot of days to get to Hawaii, America, and it's not easy. You don't get off the boat.
And it's not the kind of boat that they're sailing in now. It's the boat that has no rooms. Everybody's laying in the middle, and you have to have enough food for 7 days for all your family. A lot of the family members only can take 2 or 3 of their kids. You know, not all of them make it, and then they hopefully come and get the rest back. But
and then hopping off the boat, it's not really that easy hopping off the boat. It's not, oh, I'm in America and it's going to be, I've got money here, money. No, you still got to work and struggle and, you know, make your ends meet towards to take care of your family.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to tell a cool story. When I came here in my first time coming back, I visited my sister, my dad's sister here in Tonga, in Tofoa. And so my first cousin, which was her daughter, their son was coming out of school. You know, and she was so proud to tell me, look at my son. He's 10 years old or whatever. And she was like, he's going to get straight A's. He's going to get a scholarship and go to America and live the American dream, you know. Meanwhile, she owns her house. She pays, what, $100 Ofa'anga for electricity. She has a farm in her land. That's the real American dream. You know,
you guys are working to what these guys already have.
So we're there, and we make money. We continue to work every single day. There's no stop, no matter how much money you make. And so it's kind of a different perspective of what they have here in Tonga and what I have. It's like, man, that is the American dream. I would love to move here and have a house that I own, the land that I own, and then I just pay electricity. You know,
the grass is not always greener on the other side.
Exactly, it is. Until they realize when they get there, it's like, wow, we really have to work and work and work and work. So that's the real American dream, is work.
Tevita, the Olympics announced that flag football is going to be a sport that they recognize in the Olympics. Hearing this news, how did that make you feel?
Oh, I was so you know, I've always wanted to come back, you know, and give back somehow. And so when they announced that flag football was there, excuse me, and keep in mind, my son Trey Ofahengaue, Pulu Otukolo, and Jason Fanaika, they own one of the biggest football clubs, 7-on-7 flag football clubs in Utah. And so
they were doing this way before the announcement.
Way before the announcement. And so when the announcement came, we're like, man, how cool would it be to go and just push the game forward in Tonga. The Olympics, you know, we're still far away from the Olympics. You know, as far as not talent, you know, and that was one of the things that, you know, I met with the Olympic Committee yesterday, and they talked about how we wouldn't be able to compete. You know, and that's what made me think, like, man, you know, I don't think they realize how many Tongans we have in the NFL. And how many Tongans we have playing college football. And how many Tongans we have playing in high school that are really, really good, right? So, you know, I felt like, man, don't tell me that we're not good enough. Tell me that we're not ready because we don't have money. Not because we're not good enough. Because I've been around the world and I've seen, you know, all of the talent we have. Like, we are naturally born with a gift.
I'm just talking from this side of the world. Tevita, rugby and rugby league head coaches for big teams have also said the same thing, that the Tongans, not just Tongans, but the Pacific Islands have just that natural talent. It's just tweaking it, but they have that natural talent.
And that's the key, is the tweaking, is the coaching. You know, if like I was saying, we have a Tongan head coach. We have a Tongan coach in almost all of the major programs. We have Tongan coaches in the NFL. Will Tuguafu, he's coaching with the Chargers. So, like, it's about that part of it. If we can get the coaching right and fine-tuning the talent, it'll be so much easier transition. And so not only that, what the coaches are talking about, it's not just the talent, but, man, the loyalty and what you get from a Polynesian, you can't teach that. You know, everything is taught within the walls of their homes.
The respect.
The respect. And that's what coaches love more than anything.
Yeah.
If you have a Polynesian on your team, you know that team is going to show some respect of the game, of their families, and represent. You know, so with the flag football, that was once it got announced, like, man, how can we go and just push the game forward? You know, and so that's why we've come back so many times. We've come back with bags and bags of football shoes, which is, you know, like gold here. You know, when you get those, whatever they call rugby kicks or whatever. And so we bought shoes, we bought shirts for the kids, we bought everything to make it easier that they can just learn the game. You know, and so we have good support from back in the States that they want us to come and push the game. They want to know what else can we do to help.
Nice.
But it's you know, there's a lot of things that we have to go through. The process is a little bit harder than I expected it. But, you know, when I first came, a lot of people told me, hey, you have to go meet with this people. You have to go meet with this people. I get it. But, man, meeting doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to meet and meet and meet and meet and meet. Had I have listened from the first time, I would still be meeting. I wouldn't have had my fourth clinic already that we had here. I wouldn't have gone to Fiji and started flag football there. Like all of these things, if I just waited to meet, because, you know, everybody's busy and I'm okay with that. But rather than waiting, I just got some good groups that are here and just say, hey, let's just go. Whatever you need, I can support you. Let me support you from the States. I can send you footballs and do all of these things. And so getting to Olympics, that would be, for me, my goal is the Olympics 2032 in Brisbane.
Wow.
You know, that would be a good, you know, the 28 might be a little close. Maybe we might have one or two guys represent Tonga, but I think more than anything, 2032 in Brisbane, I think we would be just as good as everyone else that have been playing. Because again, our natural, you know, and I've learned this so much with coaching and doing all this football stuff is, you know, the most talented kids, it's the kids that are continuing to work and continuing to grow that's going to surpass those guys. You know what I mean? And the advantage that we have being Tongan or Polynesian is we're naturally big.
Yeah.
You know, that you cannot teach.
You can't teach that.
I can't teach you to be big. You're either going to be that size all the way or you're going to continue to grow. And a lot of these kids over here, all of them we're size 14 and 15. They're like 12 years old. Yeah. That means they're going to grow even taller. And that part we cannot teach. So I'm hoping that the game grows. And that's why we're here. You know, and that's my passion is to give back because, you know, I learned this word when I came. It's the Ofa'anga.
Yeah.
You know, for this country. It doesn't do anything for me to help here. You know, I don't get a scholarship, I don't get an award, I don't get anything, I don't get money. But just to see the kids come out. Our first camp we had, it was raining a little bit. All of the kids had no shoes. And they're running around and having a good time.
Yeah.
If this was America,
no.
They would have canceled.
Yeah.
They would have just said, sorry. I don't have shoes and it's raining. I'll just come next week.
Yeah.
These kids were having so much fun. And I saw, you know what? I have to be more better as far as the gratitude that I have,
Yeah.
what I have in America. And what I want to give back is I want them to experience that. I want them to have fun. I want them to do something where, they can just learn something new without getting the pressure of, you have to be in the NFL. No, you don't have to be in the NFL. Just go have fun. Learn about being a team member, and just, especially with different villages, it's good to combine and work together, because, there's so much pride in each village. My village is the best village, my village. But I think if we can teach them and be one Tonga, that would be my goal, is to have one good group of boys, and especially the girls. That's I want to help the girls so bad, because there's so much opportunity in America for girls flag football. They're on full ride scholarships now. Not like it used to be before. So, yeah.
Tevita, I want to play the devil's advocate here, and I'm not doing it this question towards you. I'm doing this question towards history in Tonga of starting a sports committee or even a sports team in Tonga. It hasn't been the easiest, and this is a conversation I've had with many other sports committee. The goal is 2032, as you mentioned. Has there been a conversation with not just the Olympic Committee, but most importantly the sports committee here in Tonga, to be able to help you guys when it comes to starting the sports and flag football here in Tonga? Because it's a conversation that needs to be had when it comes to that sort of situation here in Tonga.
I think we've talked to the right people here in Tonga that make the decision.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is, there's a order that they follow.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's been a lot of people that have come here from America that have made promises, and said they wanted to start different sports or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And nothing has happened.
Yeah.
And it's still been there. Whether they go after grants or whatever it is, we're a nonprofit, and we're a self-funded corporation, Level Up Foundation. So we get sponsors for ourselves. We don't go after, especially from the government. And so, I think there's an order that's there. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong, that's the way we have to do it. And that's the way I would like to do it. I could go and do it a different way and go, different channels. But I think that's the right way to do it. And if it doesn't work, we can still do it, but we just won't have the power, the powers to be, as far as the Olympic part of it. They're going to control it themselves. Yeah. Which I'm okay with, because my whole focus is the kids. Yeah. And if I start worrying about, what people think about it, or why can't they join, or whatever it is, then I lose sight of the kids. Yeah. That's my whole focus, is the kids, giving every single kid, not the kid that's really good, because normally in the past, the really good players, they're getting taken to New Zealand and Australia immediately, right out of school. If they're a good rugby player, the schools are coming to get them. I want
that pathway is already set.
That pathway is already set. But I want to create a new pathway for some of these kids to do American football, or do something where it's, and again, flag football is my goal, because there's only 5 players. So that means you can have, with 20 kids, you can have 3 teams. Instead of 20 kids, only 1 team in gridiron, right? So it's easier to get the groups together, and the game is so much faster. Yeah. And so, I think, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you definitely answered my question.
I think I'm hoping that the powers to be, the guys that control the sports committee here, understand, and I get it, that there's been a lot of people that have come and burned them and did these things, but you can't judge everybody the same way.
Tevita, that question was for you to be able to give me an answer that I haven't heard before from me asking this question towards any of the sports committee that's come here to Tonga. And I'm hoping, like you said, the power to be will listen and support, because words like you guys are here to do it for the kids. It's refreshing, and it's good that this answer has been said, and you have a advocate in me as well when it comes to flag football, just from that answer itself, Tevita. So it's refreshing. It's important for the power to be to listen.
Yeah.
Thank you for that answer.
Yeah, like Matema Tonga,
Yeah.
right? We went to one of their games, and there was guys from Australia. There's guys from the UK.
Yeah.
They were all support of Tonga.
Yeah.
They were wearing all their stuff, and that's was so important to me, because it didn't matter how they got there and the money and everything, but it was just there to represent. And that is the mission, is to help these kids, because we are an underserved country.
Yeah.
Tonga is.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Especially in the States, they don't, until they come here, they're gonna realize, man, there's so much they can do to help Tonga. The hardest thing is, I know there's been a lot of people that have come to Tonga and that have burned them.
Yeah.
But you can't judge. Not everybody is the same.
So true.
Right? You have to have an open mind, because
You have to have that saying that you mentioned before, the Ofa'anga.
Ofa'anga.
You have to have that.
Man.
If not, then it doesn't work. You can't just be, I'm burnt by these people, I'm never going to open the doors again.
Yeah.
You have to have it, or else there'll be nothing coming to Tonga.
Nothing. Yeah, and that, man, I don't know if you understand how that Ofa'anga, when I go home and I tell people, man, I get so emotional. Just to see, man, when I saw those kids,
Yeah. Running in the rain, barefoot.
man, running in the rain, and it was in the afternoon. They could be doing something else, but they wanted to learn something different. They wanted a opportunity, and so it's just it's so rewarding for me to be here. So especially this event we had on Wednesday, man, just to see how good they've gotten from December to now. It's day and night. They practiced hard. They know what they're doing, and I'm talking. They've never seen American football before.
Yeah.
They didn't know what the rope was for on the football. Till now, when they all know what they're doing, that is half of the. I mean, I could leave and be okay, because I think
it could end here and it'll be okay.
I would be happy, but I don't want it, because I see so much potential. Because this generation now, so there's high school kids. We have a high school team. We have 15U, 14U, but it's the 10 and under. Those are the kids that are going to be looking up to these kids, and if they make it, these kids are going to be like them. And that's my thing, is I want them, like every single one of these kids, every single kid in Tonga, they want to be Matema Tonga.
Yeah.
That's what they thrive for. You go to the shops, everything is Matema Tonga.
Yeah.
But it's not even the team, it's more of I'm Matema.
Yeah. They want to die for Tonga.
They want to die for Tonga. And people don't understand that. I mean, even in America, you don't understand what Matema, that the real meaning behind it is you going to die for your country.
Yeah.
And so us being here, especially that event that we had on Wednesday, I mean, thanks to the Tofor Fields, all of those guys that put it together, and it was just beautiful. And then something just made me say, let's just sing a song. Man, you should have seen all the people that came with me from America. Everybody was crying. It was so awesome to hear the kids. Excuse me. And I don't think the kids are all from the same place. They're from everywhere.
Yeah.
But they sang beautifully. The music was perfect. It was the perfect setting for me. And from then I say, you know what? My heart is rejuvenated. Let's go. Let's go find what else can we do. And whether it's sports or whatever it is, I think there's so much more that we can do, not just sports. Mental health is a big thing in Tonga. I mean, in America. I mean, it's so big that, I would never think that it would be here.
Yeah.
Because the way I see how kids are raised is, hey, I have a headache, tai be ulu, and then you say, go, you're going to be fine.
Everything will be right. She'll be right. Just go.
But it's different now,
Yeah.
with these kids. And so, giving opportunities like that, we have a whole mission plan. We have 5 stages that our program has. We're only on stage 1 right now, and which is just the intro of the sport. Along with that comes the mentorship. And, then we're trying to create jobs, maybe not job starting, but more of mentoring where the kids can talk to someone, not their parent or not their brother, talk to someone and like literally just say, let me interview you. What would you say? That's the goal, is for kids to feel comfortable that they can talk to someone. Because sometimes, being a parent, I can tell my son 100 times, hey, you just have to run straight and you're going to be fine. You just have to run straight. My son still runs like this. As soon as a stranger or a coach comes and says, hey, you should run straight. All of a sudden he runs straight, and then he'll tell me, Dad, you know that if I just run straight? I said, man, I've been telling you this for 10 years. How does a guy? But I believe that sometimes just someone outside helping some of these kids who have no agenda other than just helping the kid, I think it could change someone like that, so.
Man, Tevita, just you mentioned Tonga in as an example, and it is a good example because it's the pinnacle of Tongan sports, because they've made the semifinals in the World Cup. And you mentioned the support, which will always be something that Tongans known for, the mawhana, of going out and supporting a Tongan team. And just hearing you talk that it's all about the kids, it's refreshing, because even though the Tonga did what they did, there was stuff in the background that was going to hinder some of their achievements. But the players, being the players, Tonga players, they still put that aside and played the way they played. And hearing you and this organization, it's all about the kids, all about the Ofa'anga, and I fully support what you guys are doing. To be fair to you, Tevita, when you guys first came in, I had to quickly look up flag football. Stan sent me some footage of stuff to look at, and now just talking to you and the way you are and the authenticity of your answers, and I'm fully in. I'm fully in. So anything that you guys need, please come through to hit it my way. Tevita, just to end our conversation today, I know you've been giving some pearls of wisdoms here and there in your answer, but our demographic is mostly youth. They're listening right now. They're going to be watching when we post it, and they see you. They've heard the whole interview and what you want to do in your whole ultimate plan with the Olympics and flag football. And wants to inspire to be or to do something in the future. It doesn't have to be flag football, just to be anything. And what better person to get advice than you, who you said that your being Mr. Irrelevant is the perfect title for you because of just your whole way you've walked into as a walk into BYU and being drafted last and just your whole journey in life. It's been that way. You just worked hard and stuff just happens to be available for you. What advice would you give this young person, girl or boy, that's listening right now and inspired to be someone in the future?
It's hard to believe it, but I am just like every single one of them. I was born here in Tonga. The odds are already against me.
Yeah.
And, what I have done in my life isn't because of me. I stand on the shoulders of giants. My parents, their parents, all the way to generations and generations of people who have sacrificed so much to give back to their families and to serve. That's one thing that I've learned from my dad is serving. If we continue to serve, all of these kids that are out there, if you continue to serve with nothing in return, you will be blessed. Whatever it is that you do, serve, and just be grateful for your families. And a lot of some of you that are out there, they might not have a mom or a dad, but whoever it is in your life, whether it's your uncle or whether it's your brother who's raising you, listen to them, because they will never lead you astray. So I was the director of recruiting for BYU football. When Kalani got hired, he hired me there with him. So I was coaching at BYU, and one of the things that we pushed to recruits said, no matter what your mom says, meaning either your mom or whoever it is that's the most influential in your life. It could be a friend or whatever it is. Whatever they tell you, just do it. It might not be BYU. It might not be anywhere, but I know they would never leave you astray because you're the most important person to them. And so that would be my advice. Just listen to that person that is your biggest mentor, whoever it is, whatever they tell you to do. Maybe they tell you, don't go to the flag football, go to the soccer. Just do it. Just do it because it will all work out. There's a plan. And if you believe in that, and I think being Polynesian, we grow up different. We're just born with a different, not just the talent, but our natula. Is it natula?
Yeah. Mindset.
The mindset is totally different. We just have it. And so if we just listen to whatever they tell us to do, we're going to be good. We're going to be fine. We have to trust that, like a recruit, a quick short example. A recruit came and the mom said, I'm going to let him decide where he wants to go to school. I said, well, so you told him who to date. You told him what time to come home, all of these things. And the most important decision of his life, you're going to let him choose himself. Just continue to be you. As a parent, you just tell him, yeah, but I don't want him. He said, man, you never made a mistake now. Look at your son is here with an opportunity to go to college on a full ride scholarship. Trust me, you won't be wrong. Whatever it is, whether it's come here or not, that wasn't my job. My job was to sell that I want you to come. But as a parent, you've already made the right decisions all the way since they were young. So that would be my advice. My advice would be just, first off, listen to your parents. And then, even praying. I know I'm not a religious, like super religious person, but pray about it.
Yeah.
Just sit there and pray. Like you be, it's weird because there is a God out there. Whatever religion everybody is, there is a God out there. And if you ask, ye shall receive. You will. You will get an answer. It might not hit you in the head and say, hey, go this way. But you will learn a lesson as you're going, and that would, and continue to serve. I love that our country, we're so serving. Even when I go to the hotel, everybody wants to just say, hey, I'm okay. Just relax.
Yeah.
But I think the kids nowadays, I think, whatever it is that you guys want to do, I am an example that I was in your shoes. I was just like you. I did different things, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. Of all the people in the world, if I can do it, if I can make it to the NFL, I promise you, every single person that is here can do it. If they put their mind right and if they set their plan, it might not be the NFL, whatever it is. If you set your goals and just do it and listen to your parents will guide you. I think, for sure you can achieve it.
Tevita Ofahengaue, thank you for being here. Not only just a pearl of wisdom to my audience, but to me. I got to learn some stuff today. And like I said, Radio Nukalofa will be here, and whatever you guys need in promotional wise, because I believe in the cause, and I'm glad that the forefront of what you're doing here in Tonga is Ofa'anga.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
love it. I wish I could explain
Yeah.
Ofa'anga, because it's a new word for me.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure it out. And
It's an old word for me, but you've put it into a different meaning for me.
Man.
So it's yeah.
it's. So I think you've been here. So you.
Yeah, I hear it all the time, and it's when you use it a lot, it lessens the meaning,
The value.
Yeah, the value. Just Ofa'anga. But if the way you said it and describe it to the kids and running with the bare feet and on the rain, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is like I Ofa'anga I Tonga. That's my love has changed. I'm telling you, it's since my first trip here, I can't even go to sleep at night. I stay up all night and I'm talking to different people. It's like, hey, you think we can do this? You think we can get this stuff and send it to Tonga? I think we can do. I mean, I'm constantly trying to figure out how I can help, Tonga. And just giving, it's not just the country of Tonga. It's more of how can I prepare the country so the kids can benefit from it. And
the ripple effects of generation after generation after generation.
Exactly.
Ofa'anga.
Exactly. Ofa'anga.
Yeah. It matches your name, Ofahengaue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And there was Tevita Ofahengaue on our LALINOA for today. Ofa'atu tonga katoa.